Hello, hello! Look at that timeline down there. Mere 20 minutes this time. Maybe people will actually click on the video then, since people avoid my normally 15-hour-long videos. When people see a 20-minute long video, they assume it's going to be some form of entertainment. There's going to be content in this video. There's going to be entertainment. Aha, just kidding. It was only me. It was only me. So, no entertainment this time. But before you click away, I have some important news for you. The animation that I'm currently working on, the next major project, is going to be out relatively soon. I have the outro card scene basically as the only thing that I have left. So, in theory, barring some sort of major catastrophe, which I wouldn't cause anything like that, no, not me. Barring something like that, then it should be out relatively soon. The early to middle portion of the next month, that sort of thing. I've actually gotten through it very quickly this time. Considering, like, it's actually high quality for me anyways. Like, I'm not an actual quote-unquote real animator, so it's not going to look like Disney or anything. But for me, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty bang up, spot on, good job, thumbs up me. Yay. So it looks alright. So I took the time out to basically just pump out a art gripe video right here real fast. And this is actually the result of a Patreon poll for my $20 and up people. And I asked them via poll, which of the characters that I have drawn in the past did they enjoy the most? And it was a three-way tie. I had to split the poll across 4 different polls on Straw Poll, because there's a certain amount of options that it will allow, so I couldn't have 300 different options on one poll. For some reason, it was tied between Kelly Briggs, Aisha, Clan from Outlaw Star, and Fenneko from Agretsuko, which is technically, most people would know it as being a Netflix show. Which is strange because I've only drawn her ever once, and that was just a little sketch, and that was it. So I imagine people were being naughty and not voting for the one that they enjoyed the most so much as the one that they actually wanted. So I guess you get your way by ignoring the spirit of the poll and just doing whatever you want to. Congratulations, you ruined my life in some minuscule, insignificant way. But to update on my update in the prior video, I did update my Patreon stuff. So now I moved all the tiers up 1, basically, and I sort of cleaned up everything so that everything makes a little bit more sense. Which is nice because apparently, even though I had the thought of doing that years prior, I never did. So when people contacted me asking how do I contact you on Skype or something, I would wonder, how do they get this information? I changed that years ago, because I don't even use that anymore. And it turned out I never did that. So, good job, me. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes that happens. Barring major catastrophes, indeed. Alright, aside from that, that's all done. I think my New Year's resolution... I never make these. But I think my New Year's resolution for this year is going to be to mention that Patreon more. I'm not in trouble or anything like that, certainly. But I really have become more aware over time that I just never mention that I have one. So as a result, people will learn that I have it and be incredibly surprised. I don't know why, but they just will be, so I sort of need to be better about that, because I'm the same way in regards to Twitch or anything like that. I'm not good at marketing myself. So I need to try to be better than that. So in regards to that as well, the Shark Robot people contacted me, were like, hey, t-shirts, and they started nudging me in the chest with an elbow, a really sharp elbow, and we're like, t-shirts, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm kind of working on a 6,000 frame animation right now, and they sort of backed off, like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like, we understand. So that'll be my next thing. As soon as I'm done on this, my next thing will be to take care of all the backlog of Patreon reward commissions and stuff, and also to start work on new t-shirt designs. And then when that's done, whenever that's done, perhaps I will finally be free to actually work on the visual novel, to be able to work on the scary lessons stuff. Maybe. I rolled my head when I did that. Like I did like a crazy wow head whip. Maybe I will be able to do that finally. Oh goodness. All right. So as far as the content of this video goes, that was just a little minor update thing just to get that out of the way. As far as this video goes, this is just a little 2-hour drawing. So I actually, normally my videos, the reason why they're like 2 hours long is because the drawings themselves take like 9 or 10 hours to actually complete. This one only took 2 hours, thankfully. This is basically the equivalent of something that I would just throw together on an art stream of some kind. It's something just very quick just to get out at the door. So I was able to actually not speed up the video by 16 times the normal speed is usually what I have to do. This time it's actually a mere 7 times. So you get to actually enjoy it almost in real time, but 7 times that experience. The actual show, I have seen it. I was aware of the Agretsuko shorts that they had over in Japan before Netflix picked it up, actually. It is a good little show. Even the sort of clip version of the show that they had before Netflix picked it up, like the one that was 100 episodes long. And I think each of those was about 5 minutes or so. And they were pretty self-contained, and they didn't have much of a narrative behind them. They were just sort of, this kind of jokey clip show sort of deals. Sorry, I've been going at it a little bit too fast these past few weeks. So my health is kind of poo-poo right now, and my voice is kind of gone a little bit. Sometimes I'll skip through the timeline of Audacity, and I'll open up the video, and I'm like, hello, I'm Plague of Gripes. Welcome to my video, or whatever I say. I don't know what it is. And then I'll skip forward about 1 hour or whatever it is, once I've lost my voice and I've just gotten tired of it. And I'm like eating like a big head of lettuce and just I don't know why I thought of lettuce. But I basically turned into a wild feral beast as the timeline of these things goes on. Anyway, sorry. I was aware of the show before Netflix got a hold of it, and those were okay. They reused a lot of concepts, so there's sort of the same show, except the Netflix version just takes all that information and just retells it in a way that's more conducive to storytelling, I guess, is the way to put it. So, I'm not going to go over that original version or anything. But in this version now, I just wanted to make sure that if I get things confused, it's probably because I'm slamming both of those things together and I can't remember them both. The Netflix version is more... like, the themes are way more American in a way, which I don't know if that was intentional or not. Because it sort of moves away from just, she's the angry desk worker, into being more about the mindset that you have whenever you actually are working at a desk all the time, and you have a job like that. I've been over this before, and it may have been the last video. But I've talked before about all the various jobs and stuff that I've had. And how, having the Patreon, the fact that you guys, if you guys all decided tomorrow to just, all of you collectively, we're not going to give him any money anymore, then that would be it. Like, I wouldn't be able to support myself any longer. And there are people that support me on Twitch. They don't like Patreon for whatever the reasons. And they support me that way as well. But that's not like a huge amount of income or anything, since I'm not a Twitch streamer exactly. But if you decided to do that, then that would just be my income gone. So obviously I rely on you guys to be able to continue supporting me, which again, I appreciate. Probably more, I probably should put more emphasis. I should break down and cry. I appreciate you so much. I'm just not that kind of person, I guess, but I really do deeply appreciate it. But I rely on that because I enjoy doing work like this, being able to just make content online. I've had office jobs before, and I've talked about this before, but I've had a variety of different kinds of jobs. Most of them were physical labor oriented, being raised on a farm and whatnot. so I have a lot of experience in regards to dealing with both kinds of work, and I've mentioned this before about how physical labor is much different from like the kind of work that I do now. Like now I'm locked behind a desk all the time. By choice, mind you, but I'm still locked behind a desk. I'm not allowed to really by myself. I'm not allowed by me to move around too much. I don't get much physical exercise during work, so I have to do it. I have to find time to be able to force myself to work physically. Whenever you are through with physical labor, you're physically tired, and you can get tired of it because your body sort of wears down over time. But there's a certain satisfaction with being physically exhausted. And usually it depends on the work, but often whenever you are in the process of doing physical labor, you can sort of zone out, listen to music, whatever it is, and you just put your body through the motions of whatever it is that you need to do, and then you're done. There's a certain satisfaction in doing work like that. And there's obviously a certain satisfaction in doing work like animation or something that's more of a desk job, like what I do. And there's a certain exhaustion that comes from that you would not get doing physical labor. Physical labor, you get physically exhausted, but it's over, and there's satisfaction in having accomplished that. With desk work, it's mentally exhausting. You're not physically exhausted, but the fact that you are, like, your mentality is so dominated constantly. Like drawing, I've mentioned this before, like whenever I'm doing the animations, drawing up the timeline, the primary of all the events that are going to happen, like what's essentially the thumbnail process in a studio process. That's by far the most exhausting part of doing the animation, just because you have to be creative during the entire time, and you can't start until that process is done. So you just constantly have to be thinking, coming up with jokes, coming up with the sort of camera position where everyone needs to be, composing all the images, thinking about the future and whether or not you can animate things correctly and on a time budget and all these other things. And the fact that you're just constantly thinking about that is extremely exhausting in its own way. So they're two completely different kinds of work, but they both sort of kill you in two completely different sorts of ways. I'm experienced with both of them, sort of fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. So a lot of people that have never had a desk job will often look down on people that do, because they see them as being lazy or whatever it is. Like they have the easy work. That's not true at all. It really depends. And the people that are at the desk jobs might look at someone that's working outside and think, they get to be free or whatever it happens to be. And that's not really true either. That's also miserable in its own way. So, going back to Aguretsuko here, it's about, this Japanese office. And without going into the culturalisms of Japanese workers, I'll say this will give a good framework. As far as psychology goes, Western psychology, especially American psychology, is more about how do you change your environment? Like if you are depressed or something, how do you change the environment that you are in to better accommodate the person that you are? Like you need to have agency in your life to change your circumstances in order to have a better life. That's what Western psychology typically focuses on. I'm greatly simplifying, and I apologize to any psychology majors in the comment section. I'm sorry, wild animal man. I know what psychology work is. I've been over to that department whenever I was in college. I know what you people are like, you savages. Sorry. But Eastern psychology, in contrast, is more about how do you change yourself to better accommodate the world that you are in and to better accommodate the people that you're supporting that are reliant on you, that sort of thing. And you can view, if you view it through that lens, you can really see a lot of how, like, people in Japan, like, that are making the show will think as opposed to people that would be in America would think. Because an office worker in America would be more, they would have more of the thought process of, I hate doing this work. Can I find another job, or can I change something about the environment that I'm in to facilitate a better work environment so that I would be happier? Whereas a Japanese worker might say something is wrong with me because I feel bad and I hate my work. So obviously I'm in the wrong. So I need to be able to change myself into being a more productive drone so that I can have better, like, so I won't disappoint the people that are relying on me. So whenever you watch the show, you have to sort of view it through that framework, because a lot of the characters are thinking like that. They have this mentality of, I'm screwing up, I'm sorry, I'm letting everyone down. Obviously, I need to do my job better. I need to change who I am to be able to accommodate that. But the funny thing is, the sort of subtext of the latter part of the series is also about romance. And the main character, this is not the main character, by the way, this is Fenneko. She's like her sort of office best friend, as it were. But the little red panda girl, and all the characters have sort of these little animal avatars, and they reflect their personalities, that sort of thing. Typical, like, that's usually why you have animal avatar sort of things. It's because it's cuter, and, you know, this comes from the same company that makes Hello Kitty, and, you know, etc. and so forth. There's a whole other thing. But Retsuko, her whole thing is, you know, she hates her job, and she's trying to find a man that will basically allow her to escape her life, which I think is the way that a lot of young people think. They're looking for a romantic option. They're looking for someone that will rescue them from themselves, I feel like. There's a lot of that, of, like, women do this where they're looking for the rich guy that's, you know, has a six-pack, because, you know, then I won't have to work, and he'll know what to do about all these things. And I think that's more of a female fantasy, as far as having the alpha male that will be able to take care of all problems and stuff like that, which is not really how people are or how reality is, but, you know, that's how a lot of young women think. Young men do the same thing, though, where they envision this, they envision someone that they don't necessarily take care of or anything like that, but they will often envision someone that will have it all together, especially if there's someone that's sort of more introverted. They will have this sort of fantasy of just stumbling into the perfect woman that will sort of fix all their problems and will sort of bring out the person that will cause them to, like, bloom and become the person that they were meant to be. And that's not true either. That's not how it works either way. But she's still young, sort of. She's getting into birthday cake territory, you know, past the age of 25. So she's sort of views herself as being, like, getting to the age where she has to figure out that part of her life, or else it's going to be over, which is obviously not true. So she runs, like, I'm not going to give it too much away, I guess, but she eventually finds a boyfriend, and it plays out as it wasn't what she thought it was going to be, and it seems like he's the perfect match, but that's mainly because she's seeing what she wants to see. The only, like, this is sort of light spoiler, I guess. I'm not going to tell you what happens exactly, but it does bug me that they treat the boyfriend character as just sort of being a thing. He's almost like a toy. There's even a scene where she has her final revelation of, oh, this actually wasn't at all what I needed. And this person that I'm with, like, he's never depicted as being, like, abusive or anything, but he's just not what she needed. There we go, final drawing. But they, like, during that scene, her friends walk in, and they don't even act like he's there. He doesn't exist. The Resasuke, I think his name is, character. And then whenever they're, like, she's done with him, she's like, well, that's all. Because his whole entire character is just that he just exists as a means for her to have agency in realizing who she is. And that sort of bothered me. And they do have one scene where he goes back to his apartment, and he almost for a brief moment looks like he has, like, a personality beyond just being the object that teaches her lesson. But it doesn't last that long. It's kind of weird. But anyways, there's not enough time to be able to have a normal 2-hour-long sit-down where I talk about the entire series or anything. But that is a good series. Maybe one day I'll do the other Netflix cartoon series that I enjoy, She-Ra, which actually is pretty good. Has some little writing inconsistencies here and there, but maybe that's for another video, right? Right. All right. So, see you guys next time then. Animation soon.